Hi and welcome back. So I want to start off today's story by giving a little bit of background. And all I can say is when I was still living in my childhood home, the last few years that I spent in my childhood home, my grandmother was very ill. And I was basically taking care of her and nursing her and making sure she had everything she needed. I was always there for her. And I think it was about a year or so, or even 2 years before I moved out of my childhood home. It was around that time that I started sleeping in her bedroom with her. Now, there were various reasons for this. First of all, my grandmother hardly ever slept. Okay, so she normally went to bed at around 3 in the morning and then woke up at around 10 or 11. So okay, she did sleep, but not really at night. Secondly, the house was really huge, and I didn't really feel like sleeping on the other side of the house. So for safety reasons and because she wasn't well, I thought it would be best to sleep in her bedroom with her. Now, she had a huge double bed. I think queen size is more the term. And I would sometimes wake up when she entered the bedroom at around 3 in the morning, and other times I would just sleep. I would be so exhausted. Now, if you guys have seen some of my previous videos, you would know that it was around that time that I was on antidepressants, antipsychotics, all sorts of medications that I've since stopped. That's a story for another time. Please watch the other videos if you want to know all about that. But basically, I was not in a good state of mind. My mother had just passed away not long before. And I was just dealing with a whole lot of things all at once. First, my mother being sick, getting sick, then dying, then my grandmother getting sick, and it was just a lot for me. So this one specific night, and I'm telling the story now as it happened because I remember nothing of this. My grandmother actually told me about it, and it's obviously about me talking in my sleep, but it's not just that. It's about so much more than just that, because this experience, this happening, this event actually proves to me that I really have a gift. I mean, not that I've doubted it, but this really is proof to me. So during this event, what actually happened according to my gran was, she said she got into the bedroom, she walked in, and she found me sitting bolt upright in bed. Now, she said my eyes were open, but she could see that I had this faraway stare, this faraway look. And it was almost like I was in between being asleep and awake. So she said I was sitting bolt upright with my back against the headboard. And she said to me, "Amy, why are you not sleeping? You know, it's very late." And I don't recall exactly what I said to her, but I basically mentioned the name of one of her good childhood friends, someone that she went to school with. Now, this lady's name was Amanda, and what I said to my gran was something like, "Oh, Gran, do you know who's here?" And she said, "Who?" And I said, "Amanda," and I actually gave the lady's surname. Now, for all the skeptics out there, I know what you guys are thinking. You're thinking that obviously my gran must have spoken about this Amanda lady to me. She must have told me about her. I knew about her prior to this event, but I remembered each and every one of my gran's friends and all their names, and I honestly don't remember her telling me about an Amanda. Excuse me. And I think there was a reason why she didn't tell me, because maybe something went a bit sour in their friendship, or they just drifted apart. I mean, Amanda wasn't like one of her lifelong friends. It wasn't someone that she kept contact with over the years. And it wasn't someone that really played a significant role in her life, like some of her other friends did. I mean, I met a lot of her friends, and I honestly don't remember the name Amanda, nor the surname. So, to get back to the point, I said to my gran, Amanda's here. And she actually asked me, Amanda who? And I gave the lady's surname. And I don't know what happened then, but she tried to ask me a bit more about this woman, but she said I just went back to sleep, just like that. So then the next day she asked me about this, and I could not remember a single thing about this. I couldn't remember mentioning Amanda's name. I could not remember her ever telling me about an Amanda, and she actually told me, Amy, I never told you about this person, and it's so strange that you actually brought up her name. And you know, the last time I saw this woman, my gran said, we were like teenagers or something. So she said to me, it's really funny that you brought up her name. And you know, she said, Amy, I think it means something. She said, maybe this lady is in spirit now, maybe she's passed on, and she somehow came to visit you, and she wanted me to know. So that was a very, very weird encounter. And like I said, you know, I was on all sorts of medications at the time that really interfered with my sleeping patterns and things. And like I said, I was constantly worried about my gran and her health. So much so that I actually slept with her in her big bed, because I just thought that if something had to happen to her, I would never be able to forgive myself if I could prevent it, if there was anything I could do to actually prevent it. And it's actually really good that I ended up sleeping with her in her bedroom, because there were some incidences where she actually just had uncontrollable nosebleeds and all sorts of horrible things, which I won't go into detail about now. But what I'm trying to say is that my sleeping patterns were interrupted at the time, and I couldn't really get into a deep sleep. If I could, it was because of all the pills I was taking. But subconsciously, I think I was always worried, like, what if I fall asleep? What if there's an emergency? I can't fall asleep now because my gran may need me. All sorts of things like that. But this whole story about Amanda, and me not knowing about Amanda and then mentioning her and saying that she was right there, actually present in the room, that is weird. Okay? And I'll never forget it to this day. It was just a really, really crazy experience. And it was one of the many times that I actually spoke in my sleep, but I wasn't just talking in my sleep, because I wasn't really asleep. Do you understand? I was in that in-between state. And it's in that state where you actually can really communicate with the spirit world. It's where the veil is thin. The veil between the living and the dead is really thin. And a lot of people, when they just falling asleep, when they're in that in-between state, they actually see visions of loved ones, they communicate with loved ones, they communicate with angels and their spirit guides. So that is the only explanation I have for that whole experience, is that I was probably in between being asleep and being awake, and this Amanda lady came to me and maybe just wanted me to make contact with my gran and just mention her name. If there was anything else, I don't think I would have remembered, because, you know, I didn't mention anything to my grandmother. But as much as I know, I just mentioned the lady's name, and my gran took it as a message that the lady had passed on and she was in spirit. Thanks very much for watching my video, and please do subscribe, please like, please comment, please tell other people about my channel. Have a good day, guys.